Welcome to Gehenna Gaming, where we tell dark stories and support inclusivity in gaming. I am Kyran, your storyteller for the evening. Tonight we'll be playing Bleeding Kansas, based on an original chronicle for Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, set in the war-torn supernatural underworld of Kansas City. You can find this chronicle in the Storyteller's Vault through a link in the chat. This is a horror game intended for an adult audience that will explore many dark and disturbing themes. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or seriously uncomfortable, be sure to take a break and come back when you feel up to it. We'll be waiting for you. Before we introduce our dastardly band of bloodsuckers and begin our game, a few things. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Die Hard Dice, 1985 Games, and Session Zero Clothing. Use the code Gehenna at checkout at any of these TTRPG companies to get 10% off your purchase. So, let's tell a vampire story. All right, let's put some names to faces, and let's meet our vampires.
Hi guys, I'm Vin at VinVoxVA on Twitter, and I'll be playing Gideon, the Thin Blood.
You're not coming through, Justice.
Yeah, mute button. Hi, I am Justice, Stashmandu on all the socials, and tonight I am playing Luther Vergoni, the Ventru.
Hi everyone, my name's C. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me anywhere on the internet at PieSharpArt, and I will be playing Somber, who also uses they, them pronouns, who are delightling. That's not a real thing. I'll be playing your caitiff tonight, my friends.
Hey everyone, I am Lynn, Gremlin Art pretty much everywhere, and I am she, her, and I am playing M, also she, her, the Bruja, the group.
Wonderful. Obviously, you can see these clans were specifically picked to calibrate a very harmonious dynamic between our vampires. This is going to be a very relaxed and peaceful world of darkness. Let's talk about that world of darkness. Kansas City looms large over the Great Plains, as either an outpost of civilization or a blight upon the prairie, depending on whether you ask a vampire or a werewolf. For the powerful vampire government known as the Camarilla, Kansas City is the last remnant of a failed experiment, the center of a doomed empire that the powerful Ventru Alexander Madras tried to build a century and a half ago before he disappeared in disgrace, leaving Kansas City to his subordinates. For the rebellious members of the Anarch movement in the Great Plains, the city is a reminder that if you band together and don't give an inch, you can stop the Camarilla in its tracks. They wear the treaties they forced Madras to sign to end the war as a badge of pride. But like every other piece in the world of darkness, it's balanced on the edge of a knife. It's one of those treaties that concerns us tonight. 40 minutes away from Kansas City is Lawrence, Kansas, a small city that saw its share of violence during Madras's war. These nights, it's divided between the Lawrence Camarilla in the east, puppets of their Kansas City masters, and two Anarch baronies in the west, run by the elderly Nosferatu Tobias Niobe and the young Thin Blood Yvonne Savoy. Lawrence has known peace for over 100 years, thanks to the treaty Tobias struck with the Camarilla. Tonight, we'll see just how much blood that piece of paper can hold back. We open on a traveling riverboat casino the Boss Callahan as it docks in Lawrence, with dozens of drunk patrons stumbling onto the docks, cursing their luck or laughing at their good fortune. For these people, these mortals, the night ends here as they make their wobbly way back to their homes. But there's a predator in this crowd, hiding fangs and ice-cold veins. And for them, the night is just beginning, because this is the hunting ground Baron Tobias has granted them, and the beast will never be truly satiated. So, I'd like all of you to roll a hunger check to see if you get hungrier this fine evening. Take one of your
How do I do that?
10-sided dice. Take one of your 10-sided dice and roll it. If you get a 6 or higher, you don't get hungrier. 6 or lower, you're going to get hungrier. And if you have one of the fantastic vampire custom dice, if you get an Ankh, you're not going to get hungrier. No Ankh, hungrier. Okay. All right, Gideon is all right. Luther is not. M, how are you faring?
Hungrier.
All right. Somber?
Hungrier.
Okay. So, our coterie lords over the Boss Callahan as their private domain, but 2 of their members have feeding proclivities that are not satisfied by what is on the Boss Callahan. So, M and Somber, I would like to invite the 2 of you to tell us what a typical night of feeding looks like for you. We'll start with our Bruja, M.
M's little hunting ground are the clubs around Lawrence, mostly the more underground ones, where she has a good amount of she has always been a scene kid, and she's been a scene kid for the last 30 years. So this is where she lords over with the music scene, and just takes the music, the blood that beats through when you dance, and when you take advantage of the darkness and the illicit substance that may be done there to feed.
Okay. So, the club that you are coming to today in Lawrence, in your territory, the area where Tobias has assured you can feed without being harassed, is a place called the Key Ring. There is a band that you're pretty sure is probably touring from Kansas City at the moment. This is probably the first step on their tour. They're good, but not too good. So this is probably a 3-city tour that they are very excitedly calling a cross-country tour. But they probably will only get as far as Nevada. But that naive and determined excitement that you sense up on the stage is as intoxicating to you as a door being opened at a kitchen in a restaurant. You can't resist it. There are less obvious ways to feed, but tonight you know that you need the lead guitarist. Only their blood is going to do to satiate the beast. What methods do you plan to use to get what you need?
The most fulfilling meal is right after, when the adrenaline is pumping, right after a show, when they're on that high. And so after, when they are getting caught up, coming down, lights are dimming, she'll go in, and they're usually like also on a good high of the other kind as well. It makes it so much better. So she'll go up there, make eyes, dance with them for like with the music that's happening in the club, and then just take them in the back and feed.
All right, very well. I would love for you to give me a since you're doing this based on your dancing with them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a do you have any kind of art, dancing, or art performance kind of specialty that you could use here?
She does not.
Okay, then let's make it. I'm going to make it your dexterity plus your persuasion.
Ah. All right. That is going to be 3 successes.
3 successes. This person is mortal. It's very easy. It's very easy to ensnare a mortal with all the vampiric skill that you have. They follow you dutifully towards the back room. They're still on that adrenaline high that you mentioned. They're talking all about, I'm gonna open for somebody in Las Vegas. I'm not sure where in Las Vegas, but I mean, once you get to Las Vegas, you've made it, right? I mean, there's got to be a record deal waiting for me when I come back here. I was thinking maybe I'd try and go out to Nashville next. I don't know. What do you think?
Yes, of course. Vegas, the lights. Oh, it's so exciting down there. I've been there. It is wonderful. You would fit in just fine.
They're incredibly excited about this whole thing, and you have become like a symbol of the success that they're chasing. So just being here with you, it's all they need, and they will lean in to try to kiss you.
She'll kiss. And then she'll move after a little while, just move to the neck.
All right.
And then after a while, just sink her teeth.
All right. As you inhale the scent of the sweat on their neck, you can hear the music pounding nearby, but here in the back room, it's just you and them and a lot of people's discarded, sweaty clothing. And as you begin to brush their neck with your fangs, one of the walls of this place caves in and something shoots out from the hole and crushes you into the side of the adjacent wall, shattering the mirror that's been set up to let people examine their outfits when they change, and snarls in your ear, "That's mine, you anarch scum!" And you can see that the figure that has pinned you against the wall is a man in a charcoal suit. He would be very good looking if he didn't have such a hateful sneer on his face at the moment. And he's got his hair pulled back in a ponytail, and the hair that he has is streaked with blonde and black. And his very obvious fangs let you know immediately exactly what he is. What do you want to do?
I was in the middle of something, asshole. This is your feeding. This is mine.
He extends his fangs further and says, "Your claims to domain don't mean shit anymore. And I like what's on the table here, so why don't you piss off while I still allow it?"
You from the east side, friend?
I'm from your nightmares.
I believe you have that switched around, and I'm going to activate Potence.
Oh, okay.
No one entrusts me when I feed.
Okay, which Potence ability are you activating?
Prowess.
Prowess, all right. So, at this point, I'd say it's pretty safe to say that combat has been initiated.
Mm-hmm.
For the new among us, there is no initiative in Vampire the Masquerade. You state your intention, and everyone's intention is resolved at once. So, what is your intention, M?
And he has. How is he? Is he has me pinned?
He knocked you up against the wall, but he does not have you helpless. It was only because you were so surprised that he was able to get you into this position. He hasn't fully grappled you or anything like that.
You know what? Since he's so close to me, I'm just gonna headbutt him. Really hard.
All right. Well, since he's trying to get a hold of you at the same time, that's going to be your brawl and your strength versus his brawl and his strength. And make sure to sub out 2 of your normal 10-sided dice for hunger dice.
All right. Yep, those ones are all right. So it is strength and brawl. So that's gonna be 7. 5 successes.
5 successes. Okay. Well, he actually crit with double
Ooh.
tens, but even with that, it only comes to 5 successes as well. So we have a tie. The tie goes to the active Kindred. So, that being you, because you were the one who initiated the headbutt. So as you rear back, he's trying to get a hold of you, but you slam your head hard into his skull. If he'd been mortal, it probably would have crumbled to dust on impact. But he's not. Like you, he's Kindred. So he's merely catapulted backward through the hole that he made in the wall into the dirty alleyway directly behind this bar. He crashes into a dumpster, which breaks underneath his supernatural skin rather than injuring him, pulls himself upward, and pulls out from underneath the dumpster an AK-47, which he's going to point directly at you, and said, "I hoped it didn't have to get this ugly, but you gave me no choice. And let's be honest, nobody's going to miss you." Somber, this is when you arrive.
I was really hoping it was going to go down like this. I really was. I think there's another voice from just beyond the dumpster a little bit. This kind of sweet honeysuckle voice that rings into the hall. You know, I think I'd really miss M. Are you having fun? Need a third.
He whirls around like, what the fuck? And who does he see standing there? Can you describe what Somber looks like?
I absolutely can. Somber is stunning. They're this mid-height androgynous figure with pale skin and this shaved crop of hair that's just barely fuzzy with this dark hair coming in, these dark eyes that still seem sharp and hungry in this half light. But as we look at Somber, their form seems to distort just a little bit as their fingers elongate, sharpen into big, beautiful claws, as I would like to use my Protean feature discipline feral weapons.
Okay, so if you wouldn't mind giving me a rouse check to see if you get hungrier as you initiate those feral weapons. So roll a 10-sided die for me, see if you get a success or not.
All right, let's see. I get hungrier.
Okay. As the claws extend
That's gonna
from
be
your
okay,
fingers, the beast rises in your head, and it's that voice that you hear all too often. I can't believe you're wasting your time in these dark alleyways taking care of these people who don't fucking matter. Maybe if you had better priorities, you could have saved me, but instead you abandoned me.
You know, I really don't know what your problem is. I'm busy here, okay?
All right. So I'm going to need intent from M and Somber. Somber, seems like your intent is most certainly to just charge this guy using your claws. M, what is your intent?
I think now it's Big Gun's time. He wants to just hammer this. Took out a gun. It's weak baby shit. I'm gonna slam him against this dumpster as many times as,
Okay.
it takes before he won't. And she'll look at Somber like, I mean, I'd like to dance, and I was in the middle of something, and you have something, so why not?
You know, I think this could be really mutually beneficial.
Yes.
All right. So, Somber, are you making an attempt to dodge the bullets that he's about to shoot at you as you charge him with your claws? Or are you trying to be faster than him and get to him before he shoots? How are you doing this?
I think I'm trying to be faster than he is. Element of surprise, ideally.
Okay. So let's make this dexterity plus brawl for you. So take as many 10-sided dice as you have dots in dexterity and brawl, and substitute your regular dice for 2 hunger dice. So 2 of your normal dice become 2 hunger dice, which will be any different colored D10. And meanwhile, M, you're going full brute strength with this, so this is going to be strength plus brawl. And both of you are going to be basically contesting his firearms check as he tries to mow you both down before you can reach him.
Okay.
What am I looking for on my hunger dice? Anything specific?
If you crit or fail a roll, we'll learn more about what your hunger dice are going to be doing.
Ooh.
Understood. I got 5 successes, and one of them was a 10.
One of them was a 10. Okay. So only one of them is a 10. That means it's just a normal success. But if you get double 10s, that'll be a crit. All right. So 5 successes, you said?
That's
Okay.
correct.
M?
Also 5.
Also 5. Okay. So he manages to squeeze off 2 shots. And you're each going to take a point of superficial damage as you charge in, since you don't have any supernatural speed to help you out here. But because you're vampires, you negate that anyway. As the bullets graze past you, you bury your claws into his chest. You grab his head and start bashing it into the side of this dumpster. Those good looks aren't looking so good anymore. And it's at that point that someone on top of a neighboring roof says, "Freeze! I'm going to mow you down like that idiot should have." And you see above you another man, also with his hair tied back in a ponytail. This one has been dyed bright red. He's got a bit of a goatee going, also wearing a very nice-looking suit. And glaring at you with clear disgust in his eyes.
You know what? I did kind of want dessert. Why don't you come down here and we can talk a little more?
I like the view from up here. I got a clear shot to both of your hearts, and these are incendiary rounds. So let's play nice, and you can just clear out.
Ooh.
Are you scared, Em? Because I'm not feeling as scared as maybe I should be.
Oh, just quaking in my boots. Businessman with his big gun.
He says, "It's more than you can handle, honey. I can guarantee you that." And he's going to point it directly at you. Luther, this is when you arrive. Once again, your investments have been threatened. And that can't happen.
What is going on here?
What does this entrance look like?
So as Luther steps out of the shadow into what I assume is dim light spilling out of this destroyed venue into the alley, you see a very tall man, dark hair with just a touch of silver in his sides and through his immaculately coiffed beard. And he is dressed head to toe in silver and black, 3-piece suit to the nines. And he just exudes an aura of confidence.
Very nice. So, are you putting any supernatural strength behind your words, or are you trying to get them to all freeze just with raw charisma?
Just raw charisma. This is no tricks. This is just who he is. He says something and expects to be responded to.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a manipulation plus intimidation roll. Actually, we'll make it charisma plus intimidation.
Excellent. With 2 hunger dice. That is 3 successes.
3 successes.
No crits.
Okay. So,
And I lost a
M, you have this one gentleman's face pressed into the metal of this dumpster, and he squeezes out, yelling up at the guy, "Just shoot the asshole already! What are you doing?" The man with the red hair on top of the building says, "Listen, that's Luther Vagoni. Just cool it for a second, sir." These are not anarch domains anymore. Anarchs don't have any right to feed here anymore. We'd appreciate it if you vacated the premises while we deal with these poachers.
These
Oh,
poachers.
darling! I'm not an anarch! Don't be rude.
He looks down and says, I know what you are, and you ain't allowed.
These poachers, as you say, are under my protection, and I would appreciate greatly if you would drop the gun before things get out of hand.
Okay. He looks at this whole situation, seems very unsure of what to do, looks down at his friend getting pressed into the metal. Gideon, this is when you arrive. How do you want to influence this situation?
Well, they're not going to influence it at all. They're going to let the thick bloods play and kiss and claw at each other and
Okay, so they've taken up a vantage point to watch. What does Gideon look like?
Gideon is a average height African American femme looking person. They have a pair of like fish twin tail braids, like from the top going down. They almost resemble horns, but just narrow. Like every other cam here, apparently they're business best suit, but I think they're a couple feet behind Luther.
All right. So flanking Luther like a bodyguard, or perhaps a disinterested aide. You're just going to let this play out. A power move without even needing to lift a finger. The guy up top sees this fourth person enter, looks down at his gun, looks over at Luther, realizes he doesn't like his odds, and he says, look, sorry, Thaddeus, you're on your own, man. And he turns and starts running off away in the other direction towards East Lawrence, jumping between buildings. And the remaining man, whose name is apparently Thaddeus, is pretty much incapacitated with Somber's claws in his gut and M's hand pushing him into the side of the dumpster, which at this point has begun to leak that unique viscous substance that can only be found at the bottom of trash cans.
Oh, look, you've messed up your suit.
Oh, God, please just anywhere else. I'm begging you. Put me anywhere else. Just take me away from the dumpster.
Oh, careful, Em. Don't get it dirty. I'm gonna eat that.
It says, I'm sorry, what? Hey, you're some kind of bigwig, right? You don't want to let them eat me. That wouldn't look good on you, right? Right? He says in an almost begging tone.
Oh, certainly not. In public.
There's a moment, I think, where Somber pouts, and then this big grin comes over their face, and their mouth almost like distorts just a little bit as they just kind of keep their hand in this guy's gut and almost like pull him in, like they're giving him a hug around the side.
Oh, I think
Don't worry, I'm very discreet.
I think at this point, I think M will kind of like let go and just kind of pat his face, like, oh, it seems like you're a to-go dinner. Have fun.
He turns his eyes on the only remaining member of the group that hasn't actively said that they're gunning for him to die, looking over at Gideon, and he says, "Hey, you look like a reasonable person. Just talk some sense into your friends here. I didn't realize that you were part of Vagoni's crew. I all I wanted was to just to send a message, you know? And obviously I've overextended myself. So if you wouldn't mind, I'll just head back to East Lawrence."
Now, what kind of message would that send? Somber, please silence this oaf. I would also like to ask him a few questions before you take your liberties.
Fine.
Right. Somber, do you intend to do anything to this unfortunate chap? or are you just gonna keep holding him in that headlock?
I love a good headlock. I think they almost like climb up onto the dumpster, so they're holding him with like the bottom of their leg, you know, like that. And they just kind of stretch their head, crack their neck on top. Well, hurry up. I'm getting hungry, and I'm kind of bored now.
You hear the beast inside your mind, Somber, saying, you should drink him dry right now and get back to what's important. There's no reason you should be wasting your time here.
Wasting time. We'll get to what's important, I swear, okay? Just... I'm playing nice, all right? It's no big deal.
If you could see the beast pout, you're pretty sure that's what it would be doing. Luther and Gideon, what are the two of you doing in regards to this young man?
Sir, do we really have to do this here?
No,
It's already a mess.
absolutely not. We should return to the boat. At the very least, before we make more of a scene.
You didn't make the scene.
I understand, Somber, but I thought you had the level head. Honestly, knocking holes in walls, we really need to be gone from here.
Oh, come on. It's not M's fault.
I was just having a snack, and then this happened.
Speaking of your snack, they're currently on the floor. Their leg has definitely been broken. And they are staring at all of this with the look of wide-eyed amazement. The look of someone who just has not quite remembered that they have the ability to move quite yet after the extremely traumatic last few minutes of their life. And they're just kind of waiting for some kind of cue to let them know that everything is going to be okay.
Oh, shit.
Would you like to take a bite before I take care of this unfortunate loose end?
I mean, I was in the middle of feeding, so yes, I would actually like to finish a little bit before. I assume you have all this. I would like to come back here.
Go ahead, take a bite, and then we'll be on our way.
I will say it again. This is not my fault. He came in here and just did this. So.
We obviously have something to get to the bottom of.
Exactly. All right.
You gonna take a bite?
Yes.
All right. You lean down. They're too shocked to do anything about it. As you lean in and you finally drink of that sweet, sweet blood that you've been pining after all evening. And you can taste all of that excitement, all of that possibility that was pumping through their blood when they were on the stage. And you know that if you just took a little extra, if you just let them pass on, all of that excitement, all of that possibility would live on in you forever. They would never have to lose their dreams. They would never have to see this band fail. They would never have to realize that they're opening up for an even shittier band in Vegas. And they could just keep dreaming.
No. We'll save that for someone that pisses us off. Also, if I did that for everybody that had a dream like this, there would be a lot more dead people.
All right. They go limp in your arms. You do not drain them dry, but you take enough to remove one hunger. And all of that fear passes out of them. All they know is the blissful state that is the kiss that you are draining them with. And you take a step away, feel those possibilities vibrating in your own blood, but leave some in theirs as well.
All right, all yours.
Thank you. Luther steps over to the prone gentleman on the ground, slaps his face a few times until he wakes up, and locks eyes with him. And I would like to use the Forgetful Mind.
Okay. They're mortal. It's easy. All you have to do is say forget. But how do you phrase it specifically?
Ooh, not Cloud Memory. This is the one that allows me to create fabricated memories in their tiny little human brain.
Yes, stepping it up. Now, does that require a rouse check?
It does indeed require a rouse check.
Well, if you wouldn't mind.
Not at all. I passed that one. I rolled a 6.
Right.
And then it's manipulation and dominate versus intelligence and resolve.
For a mortal, you don't have to roll. They do not have the wherewithal to resist you. You can tell them whatever you like.
So as I stare at him in the eyes, really just let him fall into the dark pools that are my eyes, I start a litany of reasons how he broke his leg, including he was attempting to impress a groupie that showed up and tried to do a stage dive off of the amp that he had placed next to the wall. And when he jumped off of the amp, it fell and exploded against the wall, causing him to break his leg and kill the groupie that was with him. He is now going to give up on his dreams of being a musician. He is going to leave this world behind. And the only unending desire is to get a low-level job and spend all of his paychecks at the roulette table on the Boss Callahan.
Wow. Okay. That is a lot to weave into their memory, but they take it. They take it. You see a kind of haunted look on their face that was not there before. And they kind of pull themselves up and start staggering towards the hallway, yelling out, "Someone call an ambulance! I think I broke my leg." And they pass out of your lives, as far as you're concerned, or perhaps some of you are more concerned than Luther.
Oh, we'll see him again.
Wow. I can't believe Luther killed you that time. That was intense.
You wish.
Meanwhile, Thaddeus is still sitting in the trash cans with Somber holding on to him. Still looking at you, Gideon, pleading like he expects you to be the reasonable one in this situation. But he is yours to do with as you like.
Somber,
Yes, darling?
what is your intention with this poor, vulnerable youngling?
I'm hungry.
They look at Thaddeus. I've done all I can do.
Oh, come on, you know what they are. You can't leave me at the mercy.
All right, that's enough, darling. And I think they just kind of bounce his head off the trash can.
All right.
And then toss him right over the shoulder.
All right. He gets his bell rung over the shoulder. Where are you taking him?
I assume we're heading back to our boat, where we love to question horrible vampires who do mean things to our group.
Precisely.
All right. So as you return as you head towards the boat, Luther, you get a ring on your phone. It's one of your local contacts here in Lawrence, another venture named Pax, who you know is a keeper of Elysium in this particular area. Someone who tries to enforce neutral ground.
Yes, hello.
So you hear their voice coming over the line. Usually they have a very young voice, but they do their best to sound ministerial. At the moment, they're not attempting to at all. They're saying, "Luther, I just heard that you were in the city. You're not causing any trouble, are you? Things are kind of tense.
I don't cause trouble. I fix trouble.
Have you fixed any trouble recently that I should be worried about?
Worried? No. But there was a dust-up. We have someone here, he's going by the name of Thaddeus, claiming that we are no longer allowed to work activities in this area, and frankly, I would have liked a heads up prior to this bomb being dropped in my lap, metaphorically.
Son of a bitch. Listen, don't listen to anything he tells you. The Anarch and Camarilla borders are still in place as far as I and most other important people are concerned. I'm at Tobias's court. He's the one who extended feeding rights to you, isn't he?
That's correct.
Well, then you're going to have to tell him about this. He won't take anyone seriously. He's not listening to me. But if you've had a dust up in his territory, that might mean something.
Well, there may be some other complications. Thaddeus will not be available, but I can definitely come give an account of what happened.
I am just going to forget that you mentioned Thaddeus, and I hope I see you later tonight.
That sounds wonderful.
The peace is everything, Luther. I hope you understand that. You can't do business if everyone's dead.
Absolutely, I understand. I will not step outside of my realm of influence.
Sounds good. And the line goes dead.
Well, it seems that we have a bit of a problem. First and foremost, this young man is a liar. But we do have to make an appearance, or at least I do, with the local baron.
Oh, decree from on high, then.
I think it's coming more laterally. Less decree, more strongly worded suggestion. Somber, can I trust you to be discreet about taking care of Thaddeus here?
Discreet? Yes. Subtle? Perhaps not.
Well, as long
Don't
as
worry. You're gonna get worry lines from frowning so much, I swear. I'll take care of it, I promise.
You remember what
There
happened
is
last time?
discreet. Last time, 5 minutes ago, or last time?
Last time.
Ah.
I don't want to have to deal with the mortal authorities again. I'd rather just keep them out of my sphere. So please, be discreet.
I mean, you didn't ask me the paint that I wanted for my room, so I had to make do.
We aren't here to paint the town this time.
Did you just make a joke?
I think I did.
That was weird.
Yes, let's not mention it again.
All right. So you all make your way back onto the boss Callahan. Luther, as you make your way on, as it always does, the plaque on the side that says very clearly "Property of Crawley Investments" irks you. The constant reminder that the boss Callahan does not truly belong to you, and that all of your pretensions towards domain, while you can certainly back them up with gravitas, when it comes to backing them up with cold hard paper, it's tougher to do. But for now, this place belongs to you, and you're free to dispose of this man or question him, or do whatever you like as you see fit while you're on board. All the mortals have cleared out. There's no one on board the boss Callahan but you and your associates.
Take him downstairs to the room. I would like to ask him a few questions before you satiate yourself.
Well, hurry up. I've been waiting for like an hour now. I thought that the whole point of drive-thru was that it was fast food.
I don't believe that you have your metaphors correct in this one.
There's another pained quail from Somber's shoulder. As Thaddeus tries to pull himself off, completely unsuccessfully.
So we're on the boat.
Yes.
Correct. I'm going to walk around Somber to where he is being held, slap him on the face, and say, Who decided that we were no longer allowed to feed in this area?
He kind of tries to straighten himself out. Somber, are you still keeping him over your shoulder? Are you dumping him onto a table? What's the questioning positioning here?
I think I love the idea that they just kind of giggle when Luther slaps them kind of on their shoulder, but then they just kind of flip him upside down and just dump him down. I think just onto the ground, like against one of the masts of the boat.
All right, so you're kind of at this point you're inside. So he slams up against one of the masts that dominates one of the main halls of the gambling area. And he's just lying there staring up at you, and he says, "You did when you broke the fucking treaty, man. I mean, I'd like to be polite about it, but if you want to complain, it's your own people's fault."
In what way did we break the treaty?
Oh, y'all have been out of town, I guess. You diablerized the fucking seneschal. That sounds like a treaty being broken to me.
I don't remember doing... Me?
No, they said it was a gangrel. I mean, I know you got the claw things, but everyone knows what you are, he says, looking at Somber.
Oh, that's good. I really didn't remember doing that. I was going to be worried.
Yes, we don't associate with any gangrels within our coterie. So you are mistaken, and it sounds as if you have acted out of hand.
Look, there's a new guy in. He's the Herald from Kansas City, and he's been talking about a lot of stuff, and it made a lot of sense to us. So me and the rest of my coterie thought we'd pop over the side and get some of the glory before the war technically starts. You know, I mean, it's going to be over in 5 minutes once it starts, right? So if we wait, we figured we wouldn't get any of the good kills. Mr. Vergoni, I swear I was not trying to go after you. I know that you're... I've heard of you, and honestly, I really admire your work. The suit, absolutely fantastic. I love it. I just thought that, there's some rabble-rousers in a pub or a bar or whatever you call it, and it just seemed like the natural thing to do.
Oh, absolutely. You have done nothing wrong, and I'm going to pat him very patronizingly on the face. Unfortunately, your grasp at power might have brought you right out of the circle that you were safe in. You have a lovely evening. I'm going to look Somber right in the eye, and then I'm going to walk out.
So does that mean I'm free to go?
I'm going to proceed away from the main gambling area.
Mr. Vergoni! Mr. Vergoni!
Does this make me the Burger King? And Somber turns.
How's that?
I never wanted to be Prince. I'm sorry, I'm going to play with my food a little bit. Do you two need to leave?
I think it would actually make you the Hamburglar, because the Hamburger eats, doesn't give away.
The Hamburglar? I've never heard of such a thing.
What kind of licks are you? You some kind of fast food themed coterie? What the fuck is this? What kind of madness is allowed to happen on board this boat? Mr. Vergoni, for God's sake!
Oh, Mr. Vergoni isn't the problem right now.
I do always love it when you join me for dinner.
Just remember to stop before you take everything. 'Cause you don't want this little worm stuck in your head all the time.
Don't worry. There's only one worm stuck in my head at this point.
I
She'll
was
walk up.
invited, not that you remember me, the voice in your head says. But whatever.
Shut up.
So, do you want him staked or do you want to have fun?
Oh, I'm gonna have fun. Don't worry.
All right. Well,
All right, Somber. Is your intent to consume this young man?
And my intent is to consume this young man, yes.
All right. He's helpless. You launch yourself at him. You pin him against that mast and sink your fangs in. Now, there's two different ways that this can go. You are free to drain his blood from him completely. And that'll be it. He'll be gone. It'll be a tasty snack. You can also attempt to diablerize him, which means you will actually consume his soul in the process, and you will absorb some of his power. Now, there are risks with this. If his will wins out over yours, your body's just going to become a puppet for him to control. Not to mention the fact that even if you do fully push down his will, you might find his consciousness cropping up later on. Choice is yours to make. You can either be a snack or you can make a real power play with this. What do you intend to do?
I'm only intending to have a snack right now. I'd have to set out the nice plates if I was really gonna go all the way.
All right. You pin him to the mast. He lets out one final cry for the person he thought was going to keep order in here. Mr. Pet! And then he's lost in the bliss that is the embrace. And the kiss. And as you slowly draw his blood out, this is the most delicious thing a vampire can consume, the blood of another kindred. And as it fills you up, it feels like you are physically floating up out of your own skin. It's literally an out-of-body experience as you watch yourself have your meal. You see him start to fade, but unlike a mortal, it's not just his veins that crumble, his entire body starts to rot away as you've got your fangs in his neck. And for too long, you fully satiated your hunger, and his rotting corpse falls on the deck of the boat.
Yep. I think Somber had him almost up a little bit higher, so it would just drip down onto them in the nice way that they really like. Down their kind of popped open collared shirt that they wear when they're pretending to be staff at the casino. They got their uniform bloody again. It happens every day. Drips past their top surgery scars because they always have their shirt unbuttoned too low, you know what I mean? And they just kind of let his little corpse drop. I'm sorry, I should have saved some for you, Gideon. I always think about asking if you want some, but what can you do?
Oh, actually, Gideon isn't there, but give it a couple seconds, you hear footsteps and a crinkling, and they just drop a trash bag at your feet. Don't leave a mess.
You are always so tidy. You know, I could hunt you one if you want.
As I was saying, cleanliness is next to godliness, and I'd rather not associate with heathens.
Sorry, it's just two of us down here in hell, darling. You and me.
For now.
All right. Luther, did you just step out of the room, or are you actually going somewhere without the rest of your coterie? Luther? You can't hear me? I think the
Luther. Jesus.
Luther. Yes.
Sorry, I was waiting for Gideon to say something. just kidding. Sorry.
You're all
It's
set.
like, oh yeah, I'm here for this ride. No, Luther is going back to his office just to wait until they're done, and then and plan, kind of compose himself for a meeting with the Baron. Make sure, see if there's anything on the wire, as it were, that he needs to know about before stepping into this potential deadly arena.
Okay. Gideon, what are you up to other than delivering trash cans to the kids?
I think they're gonna, after that little exchange, go to Luther's office. Not necessarily enter, but like be at the door.
All right. Luther, you hear, you can recognize the footsteps of everyone who works for you. And you can definitely recognize that Gideon has moved outside of your office and is standing right by the door.
Gideon, you can come in. There's no reason currently to sit outside.
I thought we all had to be invited in. I'm joking.
Please come in.
I'm coming in, sir. And they step in. If I heard correctly, the Herald was mentioned.
Yes. It appears that there's some things in the works. And if that Thaddeus is telling the truth, then there's more than one Diablerist in this region currently. And the other one we don't have on a leash.
I wish I could say I'm surprised.
Gideon, I don't think I need to tell you what complications this can cause for us, our business, and you in particular.
Your business, but continue.
Must you always be so controversial?
It's my only lot at life.
Well, if you have any knowledge, I would greatly appreciate your expertise in this realm. You obviously know more about the current situation in this region than I. And if you know any preparations that we can take before meeting with the Baron in his own court, I would be very grateful.
And he gets a little smug smirk at that, because how often do Ventrue prostate themselves? Storyteller, can I roll politics?
You can absolutely roll politics. Are you just looking for the general political scene, general current political scene, or are you looking for information on a specific person, a specific faction, etc.?
I guess like the general temperature, like right now.
All right, sounds good. Go for intelligence plus politics then.
Cool. Take money and whammies. 2 successes.
Okay. You spend a lot of time on a traveling casino that stops in a variety of different cities. So you do not have a extensive knowledge of any one particular one, but you have a general knowledge of all of them. Once you've been in a city for a few days, you generally get a pretty good impression of what's going on based on your own skills and also the context that you have. But you've only been in Lawrence one night, so you've only been able to gather a certain amount of information. From what you know, the current situation is that Baron Tobias Niobe, who is the old guard of the Anarchs in this area, he's been around since the original treaties were signed a century and a half ago. In fact, he was one of the main negotiators. Has been dealing with a very upstart thin-blood baron named Yvonne Savoy, who took power relatively recently in the last few years. She carved out a chunk of his territory and has been ruling over it and inviting thin-bloods to live there openly, not having to worry about Camarilla oppression. She's also been advocating for a much harder line against the Camarilla, suggesting that it's not possible for this city to be half Camarilla, half Anarch, when the Anarchs are going to allow the Camarilla to push them around so often. And Baron Tobias does not seem to have a clear response to that. He's just been kind of hemming and hawing and trying to be everyone's friend. On the Camarilla side, there's also been whispers that Kansas City and the Camarilla in general aren't happy with how permissive they see the local Camarilla being, i.e. not staking all of the Anarchs and leaving them for the sun. So there's pressure on both sides. And that's essentially what you know.
And she's just gonna relay that as quickly as possible.
You would also know the
Hopefully
name of
that
the
has
prince
no
here in.
bearing
You would also know the name of the prince here in Lawrence. She's just a puppet of the Kansas City Camarilla, but her name is Katrina Jefferson, and she's also been around for quite a while.
All right. But yeah, that gets relayed. Hopefully that doesn't change much to the meeting later, assuming you are going, sir.
Well, I'm definitely going, but all of that is old news. We've known this conflict has been going on for quite a while, and the old guard has no teeth anymore. Their fangs are getting dull, and they need to be taken out. What I need to know this evening is anything about this gangrel that is diablerizing high-profile members before I go in here blind.
If you want to think specifically about gangrel diablerizing people, you can give me another intelligence politics check, Gideon.
All right. Boy, howdy, I wish I can blood buff, but can't do that here. One success.
One success. Only thing you know about the gangrel in Lawrence is that they're basically the Anarch border guards. There's a pack run by a guy, you don't remember his name, but they lair in a cemetery that's right on the border between the Anarchs and the Camarilla. And Tobias has basically declared that they're the ones that are going to patrol the border and make sure that the Camarilla and the Anarchs don't start going for each other. Really, it's their job to make sure that what happened tonight doesn't happen.
That is good knowledge.
Good.
I knew there was a reason I keep you around, Gideon. Thank you so much for all of your help this evening. And always. You certainly aren't a burden that I have to carry around.
And they just hold back an eye roll and they dismiss themselves.
Okay, I think we're going to take a short break here as Luther, Somber, M, and Gideon prepare for their night out. Once again, I want to thank all of our sponsors. Take a look in the chat for links, and we'll all be back in about 5 minutes. Don't go away.
Producer Nick here. Thank you for watching Bleeding Kansas. Please stay tuned for a special preview of our upcoming sequel to Rites from the Holy Mountain, Cyborg. If you want to check out the source material, you can head to DriveThruRPG to pick up Bleeding Kansas from our very own Storyteller Kyran. Link in the description below. If you're enjoying this program today, consider subscribing to Gehenna Gaming to get up to date with all our latest actual play series.
Welcome back. As a quick reminder, Bleeding Kansas is a adult game aimed at an adult audience that's going to explore many dark and disturbing themes. So make sure to take a step back if you're feeling overwhelmed by anything. And now we're diving back in. Seems like our coterie has an appointment with an important local kindred. We'll have to see how they intend to spin it to their own advantage. How do you all wish to proceed now?
I think that Somber takes care of the body. They put it in the trash bag. They throw it overboard. That's what they do every time, I think. They don't really care about environmental pollution. Anyway, and then they find themselves, I think, also outside of Luther's store, ready to go.
Okay. Still covered in blood, or did they clean up?
I think they tried to do the thing where they washed it just in the sink, but now their shirt's pink.
Stupendous. How about M?
Like once Somber, I think M has a really, really bad habit of just like, well, everyone just wait. She just busts in when she wants to. She'll open the door.
All right, so just as Gideon and Luther are in the middle of discussing this gangrel pack that guards the border between the Camarilla and the Anarchs, you burst in through the door.
All right, what's happening? We got a war. We're gonna have our illustrious, barons gonna roll over with each other until they're powered. What's gonna happen?
M, I have asked you countless times to knock before entering. This is my sanctum.
Yes, and a depressing sanctum it is. No one's here.
We each have our own type. Somber, do you have an extra shirt that you could change into, please?
Huh? And I think Somber has sat down on one of the armchairs and thrown their legs up and over on the side. What? Sorry.
Gideon, I appreciate your decorum.
Of course. I'm going to find Somber a shirt.
Thank you.
Oh. Well, if you wanted to see me without my shirt, you could just ask.
They're walking.
That is, we are going to a respectable location, so we must appear to be respectable. So, Somber, if you could please take it down just a notch or two. M, while we are during this meeting, if you could please keep an eye on Somber and make sure that she doesn't eat anybody, that they don't eat anyone.
No promise. I won't. It would be really funny if Somber ate the Baron. That would be hilarious.
You recognize that if they ate the Baron, then we would all be dead.
I don't know. I think I could probably get away with it.
I would much rather not have this conversation, even in theory.
Somber, you're right. It's just right here. It's a little crease
Right?
happening. Yes.
Like a wrinkle. It's all the stress.
If I weren't perpetually youthful, I would blame all of my gray hair on the two of you.
You're welcome.
I mean, you see me. I don't care. 50, not a day over 19. See?
Yes, absolutely. You look wonderful for your age. Anyway, please mentally prepare yourselves for this. And remember, we have not seen Tobias since we left him in that alley. Somber,
Certainly not.
thank you. I would like to go ahead and call a car to pick us up and take us to
Absolutely.
location.
You're surprised that when you go to your initial car company, when you tell them who it is, they hang up. You have to use your backup car company.
That is most unusual, and I shall be having a conversation with management on Monday.
At this point, Gideon has returned with the new shirt for Somber. What did you pick out for them, Gideon?
Just a normal button-up, folded, pressed, crisp to the nines.
I think Somber just unbuttons the current shirt that they were wearing, just in the office, drops it on the floor, takes the new shirt, and buttons up maybe 3 of them, and then they're done. See? Very serious.
Thank you for that concession.
The car is waiting.
Please, let's proceed, and remember best behavior.
I love it when we get to go on field trips.
This is your last opportunity. If you act out at this one, you will be staying on the boat for all future higher level meetings.
Oh, but Luther, you know how I get when I'm bored.
I thought that's why we acquired those playthings.
Yeah, but I ate them too.
Yes, we'll be good, Dad.
I honestly don't know why I put up with you all. Please, let's go.
All right. As you make your way down the gangplank to the waiting car, M, hearing Luther says that, gives you a quick flashback to one of the first times the two of you met. What did that interaction look like when you first made Luther's acquaintance here in Kansas?
I think maybe mutually, possibly unimpressed would be the main. M needed money. Circles put her in front of Luther. And that's how that started.
Makes a lot of sense. I imagine a lot of Luther's relationships began that way. As you all make your way into the car, obviously it's very well prepared. The company is fully aware of the unique needs that you have, so there is unfractionated bagged blood ready to go in the cooler in the back of the car. And the driver has been instructed to be as discreet as possible.
I imagine it's an Escalade or an SUV style with blacked out windows. Not a limo, nothing so gauche.
Certainly. And it doesn't take long with such an impressive ride to reach the area that Tobias claims as the center of his court, which is a seemingly abandoned warehouse right across the street from a 24-hour McDonald's. Lawrence is a college town, and so this McDonald's is booming with students that are coming in and out at all hours. Doesn't matter how late it gets. It doesn't matter that it's about 3 a.m. This McDonald's never closes, and it's one of those rare places that actually has a working milkshake machine, and it never breaks.
Sounds like some Kindred powers there.
What would seem to be two homeless people warming their hands over a burning fire inside of a trash can by the entrance to the warehouse are, actually the bouncers here. And when they see the illustrious Mr. Bogoni striding toward, they of course give him a nod. No one's going to stop you.
I stride through without even slowing down, as if them stopping me was never even a question.
All right, you enter into the warehouse. I assume you're all coming with them. All right. The warehouse's interior is very distinct from its very shabby exterior. It's made to look like a large ballroom, and it's outfitted with very fine-looking, overstuffed Civil War-era furniture. lots of red leather and dark mahogany, lots of paintings of various different battles, but also of meetings where everyone is standing ramrod straight, and even though they're supposed to be talking, they're all looking away from each other in the painting. For someone whose soul is attuned to artistry like a toreador, they would surely appreciate it, but for M and Somber, they might not be quite as inspiring as they're meant to be. As you make your way into the ballroom, you can see that this is actually a pretty active night for the court. Normally, when you'd come here, you'd expect to see Tobias, maybe one of his attendants, and 2 or 3 kindred. But there are a couple dozen kindred milling around inside the court today, and they all seem to be milling around based on several different people who seem to be the locuses of power here in the court. One of them is Tobias. He is a Nosferatu, so his face is... His flesh looks like it's been melted off. It's possible he might have been an African-American man before he was changed, but it's impossible to tell now. His ears are bat-like, and his fangs extend down almost to the floor as he's watching an assembled group of his ghouls on the floor in front of him. He's sitting on a big chair that's turned away from the entrance, and his ghouls are on the floor, and they're eating fistfuls of McDonald's burgers and fries that have been spread out on the floor for them. They're eating like starving animals, smashing it all together, putting it in their faces, gulping it down. Every now and then, Tobias will reach down and pull out a milkshake, pop it open, and just dump it on top of this slurry of food that they've built for themselves. And they just keep eating, and they don't stop. There's quite a few people trying to get Tobias's attention, including your friend Pax, the Keeper of Elysium. This is very clearly not an Elysium, because Pax is not in control. They can't even get past the person who is guarding Tobias, which is one of his many children, a hulking, one-armed Nosferatu named Magnus. Extremely muscular, body absolutely covered in pulsing boils, and the one arm that he has is rippling with muscle and holding onto a massive silver hammer that he's using to ward people off every time they talk to Tobias. On the left side of the room, if it's possible for them to be an antithesis to Tobias, this is it. There's a man, fair blonde hair, Euro-American looking guy, actually perhaps European, because you hear the sound of a French accent when he speaks. He is in a suit that, Luther, you hate to admit it, it's nicer than yours. And his face almost seems to shift, almost like Somber's does, but more subtly, to make him look more appealing depending on what lighting he currently finds himself in. And he is speaking to all of these people who are gathering in front of him, taking on all comers and seemingly extremely polite about the whole thing. On the other side of the room, on the right side, Gideon, given your knowledge of the local political situation, you recognize Baron Yvonne Savoy. She's an African-American woman dressed in a pantsuit with a nose ring in and her hair done in locks. She's dressed extremely professionally, and she is very professionally angry at almost anybody who comes up to speak with her. Some people she seems to recognize they have something important to tell her, so she welcomes them in and speaks with them quickly. Everyone else she doesn't seem to be wasting her time with, and she's glaring at Tobias pointedly. Over by the bar, there are several other people dressed in kind of what look like college professor uniform. Lots of tweed, lots of scarves, various different people, oddly enough, making drinks. They look like they would be gathered together at a faculty mixer, but they seem to be the help for whatever reason. And the final person that stands out is a large, heavy-set white man with blonde hair in an Italian suit who's just very gracefully making his way between the various different gatherings of Kindred, speaking with everybody, in short clip tones. You hear what sounds like a New York accent coming off of him every time he speaks. So this is the scene that you see before you as you enter it.
Would I know who the gentleman with the New York accent is?
Give me a charisma plus politics check. See if you've been introduced.
One success.
One success. You know that he is not from around here. You're confident that if he was a Kansas City kindred, or a Lawrence kindred, or a Topeka kindred, you would have been introduced to him at this point. But you haven't.
Could I possibly make the same roll?
Yes, absolutely. Although for someone such as yourself, as a thin blood, there's no chance you would have been introduced, so give me a intelligence plus politics check.
One success.
One success. Again, definitely not from around here. You've heard about out-of-towners coming in and making petitions in Kansas City to the prince and the sheriff. It's quite possible that he's one of them. It's unlikely that somebody from New York would be wasting their time here in Lawrence. It's a relatively small domain, and yet here he is.
I think as we are all walking in, Somber looks around with kind of delight as they see that there are so many other people in here. And they just go, Luther, I didn't know you were taking us to a party.
It is an audience. Please be respectful. There are a lot of currents moving through this ocean.
Blah, blah, blah. And I think they actually drape like one of their arms over Gideon's shoulders and take a look at Baron Simone.
Yvonne.
Yvonne, excuse me.
Yes.
Well, say, Gideon, shall we make an introduction?
Under one condition.
Oh?
You don't say a word.
Fine, I'll be your backup.
All right.
All right, then.
So Gideon and Somber making their way over towards Baron Yvonne. Luther, M, what are your intentions?
They can get along on their own. I'm sure.
Certainly Gideon will have his hands full. I would like to take a look around and just sort of get a sense of the overall currents and see politically who I should talk to. Like who should be the first person, just like etiquette wise, that I go up and talk to first. And like I recognize that Tobias has his bodyguard up, but it may be good idea to go and say, like, you know, I'm here, hi, thank you, the intro. But I think what is the etiquette in this situation for introductions and talking?
Certainly. All right, give me an intelligence plus etiquette check.
It's 3 successes.
All right. You, oddly enough, are able to tell just through a basic observation of etiquette that Tobias is losing his mind.
Oh.
This is not the way that his court should be run. You weren't announced when you entered in here. There's nobody to petition to speak with. He's turning away the Keeper of Elysium. He isn't speaking to two obviously very high-ranking members of other courts, Yvonne and whoever this French guy is. And the fact that they are not being invited to at least stand up near him while they're being invited in, this is lunacy. This is the kind of stuff that the treaties that keep the peace here are built on. And if he's not observing them, everything's out the window. You think that you could speak to anybody in this room in whatever order you want, and the fact that you could do that is profoundly disturbing.
Recognizing the two more important individuals, the Frenchman and Baron Yvonne, sorry. I think that I would try and catch the eyes of Pax, just so he recognizes that I'm there. But since we have more of a personal relationship, then I can. Then a more working relationship. I don't want to say that we're close, but I have a more working relationship with them. I don't feel the need to talk to them first. So since Somber and Gideon, and I desperately hope in the back of my mind that Gideon can keep Somber in check and not commit a faux pas this early in the evening, I would give a small tug on M's coat and motion towards the Frenchman.
Em, you're gonna head over there with him?
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. We've got the Thin Blood and the Caitiff together, and the Bruja and the Venture together. Only good things can happen here. We'll start with Gideon and Somber. So Gideon, I believe that Somber is got a no talking rule on them. So how do you want to approach Baron Yvonne?
It's pretty straightforward, confident. They wait until they have Yvonne's attention before speaking.
All right. It doesn't take long for you to get her attention. Even if this is a well-attended court, it's still only a handful of people here, a few dozen at most. And so she turns her head, she sees the two new arrivals, and her eyes settle on you, and she says, I don't think that we've been introduced.
My apologies. My name is Gideon Greer. A pleasure, Baron.
Pleasure to have you here. I make it a point to know everybody who comes into the city, and I haven't heard anything about you, which makes you profoundly interesting.
I do my best to stay so. And this is my companion, Somber.
The Hamburglar, if you would.
She raises an eyebrow, and she says, well, sounds like you and Tobias would get along swimmingly. And as if to emphasize this point, there's a squelch and a soggy hamburger patty just goes skittering across the floor. She rolls her eyes. How can I help you?
If I may be so bold, Baron. Yes. This lunacy, for one. How long has this been transpiring?
Since I started attending these courts, and that was 3 nights ago. I have plenty of things to do in my own barony, but Tobias is clearly not capable of running his own. So I'm here making sure he doesn't sign off the entire city to the Camarilla. I don't believe that anyone even announced my presence when I got here, and I'm a baron. I'm used to disrespect because of my lineage, but not that much.
And on that note, he adjusts a bit and kind of tugs at the sleeve of his jacket to show a crescent moon tattoo on his forearm. I understand completely.
I expect that you do. And she seems to unfold a little bit, and she leans in. Are you here to request asylum?
I'm here to learn the temperature and the lay of the land.
Well, the land's underwater.
As of now, I'm comfortable with my coterie.
She looks over and she sees Luther striding towards the Frenchman. You comfortable with a Ventru running your coterie?
Trust me, he really only thinks he's in
Beggars can't
charge.
be choosers.
Beggars can't be choosers. I've never heard truer words. Gideon Greer. Yes, I like that. Well, you should know, if you're getting the lay of the land here, that Tobias's barony is sinking fast. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he's falling to pieces ever since this whole crisis arose. From what I can gather, the Camarilla is accusing one of ours, a gangrel, I think they said his name was Corey, of diablerizing a high-ranking member of their group. The more disturbing thing is the gangrel aren't denying it. They're not even attempting to. They're merely saying that they won't hand him over. Now, personally, I don't have any objection to that. I think it's about time that we started taking this conflict with the Camarilla seriously, and if this kid managed to take out one of the key pawns, more power to him, I say. But if war's coming, Tobias is not the one that I want in the chair. We're not ready for it. Not unless we can make a big play.
And out of pure curiosity and nothing more, who would you like to see there?
She thinks for a little bit, and she says, all of his children are either so slavishly devoted to him that they wouldn't know what to do with themselves if he was gone, or monumentally stupid. I think we probably need to get some new blood in that chair. I wouldn't pretend that I could run his barony overnight. There's transitions that have to be made. But he either has to pull himself together or he has to be replaced. Your coterie, what is their affiliation exactly?
And you pause for a second. I suppose we call ourselves anarchs. Some affiliations are blurred, others are possibly misconstrued.
Interesting. But you're not based in Lawrence.
Not at all.
Out-of-towners with wobbly political affiliations could be extremely useful to me right now. Especially if you know how to take care of yourselves. She kind of gives a quick wave.
We do take care of ourselves, don't we, Sombra?
Yes, we do, don't we?
She waves the rest of her of the people who are trying to speak with her away, and she leans in, and she says, "Some shit's gonna go down tonight. I need my people around me to make sure that I don't get hurt, and I've got enough coordinating to do back in my barony. But there's two high-level Camarilla licks. They're going to be walking into Anarch territory to arrest the kid they say diablerized the Seneschal. The Sheriff, Morgan Parker, and the Herald. Pretty boy over there." He nods towards the French guy. "Hector Soleil. They're the two strongest licks the Camarilla have in this city. This place is purposefully run on a skeleton crew because they're just vassals of Kansas City. I'm inclined to think that if those two were out of the picture, this whole city would turn anarch real fast. I have that feeling. So if you're interested in making some chaos, using it as a ladder, I'd be very eager to engage your services. Just something to think about."
What do you say, Gideon? I was just thinking that I was starting to get a little bored on the boat for so long.
We think before we act.
Admirable. But I trust you'll keep my suggestion in mind.
Of course, Baron.
Wonderful. Have a drink. I have my best alchemists on running the bar today. You can enjoy yourself while you ruminate on our potential collaboration.
And they give a very respectful bow. Not too deep, not too gaudy, just very curt. And they're going to link with Somber and actually direct the both of them, like, just away from the conversation.
Okay, sounds good. Is there anything that Gideon wants to say to Somber before I pivot over to Luther and M?
I broke my rule, but not a word to Vigoni.
Oh, I would never. I've been waiting for you to break the rules for some time now, Gideon. I think that the two of us could have quite a lot of fun tonight.
Please.
All right. Luther and M, as the two of you make your way towards Hector, there's none of this waiting that Gideon and Somber had to do. People recognize Luther's authority and they part respectfully.
M is going to kind of hop ahead a little bit of Luther, walk up to that gentleman and just bow. It's like, Lady M of Long Beach. And in her, she'll, Sir Luther of the Domain of Despair. And she'll like...
He chuckles. Enchanté. It is a true pleasure to make your acquaintance, mademoiselle. And he's going to extend his hand for yours.
She kind of doesn't know what to like, doesn't know that, she'll kind of like just put her hand out.
He's going to lower his lips down to kiss it if you allow him to.
Mm-hmm.
I have not had the pleasure of visiting your Long Beach, but Mr. Vergoni, I can assure you I am acquainted with all sorts of despair. I am Hector Soleil, one time of Lyon, most recently of Kansas City, and tonight, your lovely home here in Lawrence. You're still muted, Luther.
It is a pleasure to meet you. And he's gonna give a slight side glance to M for that the break-in protocol.
You just hear like a little bit of a side wink.
It is most wonderful to meet you, Hector. And I don't believe that we've had the pleasure of meeting previously. What brings you to this fair town?
I am here at the request of Prince Ballard Rutledge of Kansas City, who is concerned with the current state of affairs here in Lawrence. Very, very concerned. And I have been engaged by the local Camarilla to give a few speeches to keep the rank and file up and at it. Try to move past some of the more archaic things that we are obsessed with here, such as these foolish treaties that were signed so long ago.
I understand. It is an admirable goal to do away with the past and move forward with a strong vision that can really only be sailed by those with the open minds. He's gonna take a look around. What's the composition of the group around us like? Do we have a small circle of privacy, or?
At this point, when it became clear that he wanted to speak with the two of you, everyone kind of pulled away out of respect.
And I'm gonna give him just a look that sort of says, "Go with it," and look back at Hector and say, "It would probably be in the benefit of the Camarilla in this region if perhaps, and he's going to give a slight look towards Tobias, the leadership here was a little more under control?
Yes, I have heard of you, Mr. Vegoni. Always this soft touch, except when that caitiff of yours gets off leash. And there are times for this soft touch. I, however, am not here for that. I am here to be blunt. Circumstances have forced it to be so. I have always been a skeptic of the treaties that hold this place together, and the events of 3 nights ago confirmed all of our worst fears. You should know that it is currently my expectation that the treaties cannot be allowed to continue. And when you speak of more pliable leadership in the Anarchs, I do not think this is the solution. I believe it was your Abraham Lincoln that said, a place cannot exist being half one thing and half another. It must eventually become all one thing or all the other. It is so tonight. The Anarchs, they cannot be allowed to continue in these ways, especially after the heinous crime that has been committed against one of the highest members of the Camarilla in this city. I am open about this. The Barons know that if I had my way, the Camarilla would eliminate the Anarch leadership this night and restore order to Lawrence. It is only Prince Jefferson that currently disagrees. However, I do believe she is coming around to my way of thinking.
Oh, most certainly. Knowing that M might take exception to the words that were just said about removing the Anarch leadership.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's trying.
Luther's going to move a little closer to Hector and give just the slight, just not like forcing him out of the circle, but just like putting a slight barrier, just a shoulder between the two so that words that may not be taken back can't be said, or perhaps actions even. He's going to lean a little closer to Hector and just say, absolutely, we are behind you 100%. This is becoming a bit unruly, and we must have order.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad to hear that you share my concerns. In fact, and I have been open about this is not any kind of covert offer. I make it openly. I'll let the Baron know that I said this to you later if you wish. The only thing that is currently holding back my followers, those who have listened to my speeches and are ready to move forward with what has to happen, are those gangrel border guards that committed this grave crime. If they were to be removed, I have every confidence that Lawrence would find a great deal more order the following night. And those who removed them would certainly see great rewards made available to them. Even membership within the Camarilla, where that may have been, and he looks over towards Gideon and Somber, not possible before. Even free access to enter into Kansas City. Even potentially a meeting with high-level members of the Kansas City court. If such things were to be set in motion, if the gangrel were to be removed, I can imagine quite a bit could happen for those responsible.
If we are only speaking in theoretics, of course. if these things were to happen, and if certain hands were to be in play, I would be most affable to these meetings if, just in theory, these items were to play out in certain manners.
Excellent. I am so glad to hear that you are theoretically in agreement with me. Lady M of Long Beach, I wonder if I might have a conversation with you, my dear, in private?
Certainly, there are many other palms that I must grease. I'll leave you two to it.
She'll give you the "I hate you" look. I hate you.
And he gives you the stay calm look, like play the game.
He'll, as Luther makes his way away, he'll lean towards you, M, and he says, I appreciate that someone of your clan recently arrived here from Long Beach. I can put two and two together. I know what you must have gone through. And I want to give you my heartfelt apologies for the violence that you were forced to suffer through during the recent conflicts.
Oh, no apologies necessary. We all had a lot of fun back there. Pretty sure you'd love to visit. See how we do things over there.
Lady M, I can appreciate the bravado. I applaud your dedication to this facade. But we both know that soldiers don't find themselves hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles away from the front lines if they were enjoying the fight that they were engaged in.
Now you see how you have that thing about soldiers wrong. Is that we don't like the politics, but we love the fight.
I would extend an offer to you to say that there are more important fights to be had than the Anarchs versus the Camarilla. Things in Kansas City have taken a troubling turn. Disturbing things have been happening. Violence unseen since the time of Madras could be at our doorstep. And we need capable people to figure out what's going on and protect mortal and kindred alike, to ensure that the bloodbaths of the 1800s do not return to Kansas. Politically, we may disagree, but surely we can agree that violence should be avoided at all costs.
And all we have to do is, bend the knee, kiss the ring, that sort of thing. Cosplay like we're in 1066, and everything will be taken care of, right?
The Camarilla is not only a structure that enforces rules, it's also one that makes things possible. We can build more together than we could apart. I believe that your unique skills would be very well suited to building something of note within Kansas.
I agree. And we'll see where that ends up.
He reaches into his back pocket and he pulls out a small wooden box. Perhaps you will accept this as a token to demonstrate that I am not all talk, that I do believe that we can have a prosperous relationship if you and Mr. Luther agree to my proposal.
She'll put her hand on it and push it back.
Very well. He pockets it, and this is the first time you've actually seen annoyance flick across his face. I had hoped that you would prove the exception to the curse that plagues your clan, But I see, once again, that your kind are incapable of seeing the big picture.
And there we go. Have a nice night.
He turns on his heel and goes back to discussing with the people he was discussing with before.
And she'll walk back to that's like, you just see her like wipe that hand like on her jacket. It's like, all right, you got back at me. And I did behave myself. I did. As much as I could.
What did he want with you?
Half-hearted proposal. That sort of thing. Tried to give me a gift.
And you spurned it?
I behaved myself.
You recognize the delicate situation that we are in right now, and you spurned a gift from the Camarilla?
You can... What? If you want that so badly, you can accept that. I'm pretty sure you have a lot of things to talk to. And I think he knew exactly who he was giving it to, so...
Let's go speak with Gideon and Somber and find out what they discovered. Hopefully we can avoid death this evening.
Nothing happened.
Nothing yet.
Exactly.
All right. You make your way over to Gideon and Somber, who are currently seated at the bar, being served various combinations of alcohol and blood by the tweed-suited bartenders, who seem very eager to please. And as soon as you make your way over, you see Yvonne give a quick nod, and the people who are sitting near you filter away to give space for you to have the discussion that she knows you have to have. And you are all together once more.
Em is going to take one of the drinks and just like down it right there. God damn it.
Oh, so it seems that went well.
Traded barbs. I'm happy. I'm annoyed, but I'm happy. Luther's not, though.
Gideon, what did you find out about our anarch friends here?
Surprised the city is in shambles. And it seems that things are going to, quote-unquote, go down tonight. With our herald and sheriff.
Wonderful. We're just getting a toehold in here, and now everything decides to erupt all at once. And Luther's going to take a deep breath and look at each person in the eye, each kindred in the eye. I think you all know where I stand as a general principle. However, he's going to look around him. I would love to hear your voice on whether or not we support the Camarilla or the Anarch in this particular instance.
How generous of you, Luther.
I'm a benevolent god.
You know who I am and where I stand.
M?
Fuck all those Camarilla shitheads.
I could have guessed that. Somber.
You know, there's one more thread that I don't find myself fulfilled with yet. There's another Diablerist in this town, and I'd like to talk to them.
Well, it appears that we're split. However, I would like to propose a third option. During this time of unrest and spite, perhaps there might be an opening for enterprising young Kindred to sweep away the cobwebs of the old regimes and rise as a power unto ourselves in this contested land.
Ooh.
Does that mean we can have a bigger boat?
If we were to pull this off, we wouldn't need a boat, my dear Somber. You could do whatever you like.
I see you attempting to pave a road, but what direction is it heading?
Up, my dear Gideon. The road always leads up if you are hungry enough and strong enough and brave enough to take it.
I'm just going to be frank here. This is entirely too foolhardy for me.
Gideon, of the four of us, you have the largest to lose and the smallest vote. So I recommend that you step in line with the rest of us.
Understood, sir.
Somber, we can get your Diablerist. We can unseat the Camarilla in this area if we play our cards right. It's all about playing one party against the other until they both lose the power base and we step in to fill the vacuum.
You mean you step in to fill the vacuum?
I am not under any illusion that I have the muscle to do this solo. I need the skills that each of you bring to the table in order to pull this off successfully.
They're there. I was just teasing.
Ooh, insurrection. Love it.
Gideon, will you toe the line for the time being? I will get you your revenge. I promise you that.
I don't remember mentioning vengeance, but please continue.
You are a transparent screen to me, my dear. Somber, can you
And you're
play?
a hoax.
What was that? I couldn't hear you.
I apologize. What was that, Gideon?
I love Kitty as a nickname out of character. I think it's cute. Breaking the tension. I think Kitty is cute. Luther said transparent screen, and Gideon said, I think you're a hoax.
We'll see. My fangs may be retracted for the time being, but they are very much in existence. Somber, can you toe the line for a moment longer? We can discover your past, and you can find this Diablerist, so you would be the only power in town.
Darling, I don't think I ever stopped towing the line.
Then it's decided. We'll play both sides against the other and attempt to grasp a little power for ourselves.
They must have promised you something big.
Nobody promises me anything. I take what I want.
All right. Well, with the coterie selecting a path that few could have anticipated, and
The GM, namely.
that the storyteller never could know. I think that is an excellent time to end our vampire story for now, while they determine their next steps and also decide what future they want to try to carve for Lawrence. And by extension, perhaps all of Kansas. So, thank you very much to our fantastic audience. Thank you very much to our amazing vampires. Thank you very much to our subscribers and patrons. And if you enjoyed this session, we'll be back next week. And if you want to learn more about the other things that Gehenna Gaming does, you can join our Discord or visit gehennagaming.com. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you soon.